Aloha Kohala. It is 3:01 here on June 21st, 2023. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. It's solstice, and this is Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and
Michál Anna.
And we are happy to be here with you to talk about what's going on in the ethers. And a big shout out to Lydia for a smooth transition. So, yes. Michál, as you're feverishly doing things over there, we were talking outside. We got to meet before the show today and chit-chat, which was really quite pleasurable. Usually there's this kind of hurried rush experience that we have together.
Yes, and that brings us into the summer solstice. A relaxing morning for you, relaxing day for me as I just got things done that were needed to happen and just be in my flow at home.
Being in the flow.
Is really nice.
Yeah.
Getting to things that need my attention. And summer solstice is here. And for me, that means more light being revealed. Last night we had a solstice event and a sound bath meditation, some movement, some yoga. A shout out to Jamie and Leilani for beautiful sharing. And it was really powerful and a beautiful time to just kind of let go of what we don't want to take into this next. As it's the longest day, the sun is shining bright.
Yeah.
We're letting everything be revealed. What do we want to not take with us? It's all that opportunity to let go of what's been happening, what loops we might be in our minds, what things we might have been drilling on. We get to let those pass and forgive ourselves, forgive everyone else, and kind of open into this new time. And so today feels like a celebration of more light, more love, more entrance into connection to your gifts, to your knowing, to who we really are if we so choose.
Well, there you go. So we talked a little bit about talking about food and where we might want to go with that. And yes.
Okay.
You don't have to do that.
We can talk about food. In the new entrance to the new light, here we are in this new time. So as we connect in this new time and we feel into kind of what we have alive. I think one of the things I was sharing earlier with Eila was that I thought that we all have an opportunity to simplify and kind of deepen more into our own connection to the earth, to each other, to our neighbors, to our communities, to our families, and to come into more alignment there. Many of us have come, from, if you're listening in a city or if you're listening just down the road, the consumer culture, all these things have it now. We really have fallen away as a society from a real connection to our food. So shout out to all of our farmers right here in North Kohala who are really committed to growing food and providing for our community. And the more the merrier, right? The more of us just growing food in general, abundance everywhere. Why not? Let's have fresh food everywhere. Yeah. So that's kind of where we were jumping from, is this new earth time is kind of like, how do we connect into the earth more? How do you create your connection to the earth in your own self? And how can you deepen that?
Yeah. And one of the things I was talking about was having traveled somewhat on the mainland, I noticed in some of the smaller towns and communities, there just wasn't the availability of organic anything, organic produce, organic fruits. And as I looked around at the people that were living there, they just didn't look healthy. And it's how do you maintain good health if you don't have access to healthy foods?
Well, and some people, they don't even have an apple, whether it's organic or not. And so then
they don't even eat it anyway.
There's no fruits and vegetables there.
Right.
And then that is a problem across the nation and across our, planet, access to food, to real food, which is why farming and us all learning, it basically comes down to, we all need to be responsible for ourselves and learn how to have the freedom to do that. Maybe you won't have to grow all your own food and provide for yourself, but be nice to understand it, right? Understand the process of how you are surviving here as a human being. What are you using as a human being? What do you utilize? for myself has been a long process of doing that since I was in my late teens, early 20s, of peeling things away, and and then it's easy to pull things right back. We then accumulate a lot of stuff again. Now I have all this stuff again, right? So it's easy to take on things. It's easy to forget. So we have to remember that, right, what's important? What's important is my connection to you, our connection. Hey, hi, are we here? Are we all right? We're together.
Yeah.
Right, that, our connection to our earth. What am I doing? Are my feet on the ground? Am I firmly planted? Am I here now? And our connection to what we put in our body. What am I giving myself on a daily basis? So we talk a lot about energy tools here, and this is totally in alignment with that. It's body, mind, spirit. So if we are going up that rung, and you see that kind of like, the old play toys, like the triangles, the circles, the squares you put on the stick. So if you see a triangle there going up the stick, if I only take one end, it's going to be lopsided. So I have to take all three together to shimmy up that stick. So body, mind, spirit. So we are navigating our energetic self using our daily tools, stocking our mind, and then we're creating a vessel that can house these energies. If like we've talked about this in these ways, if I'm a jalopy, I can't go 120 if I'm sludgy oil, and I never change the oil, and it's all clogged up. Well, then that car is not going to be able to perform. If you're in a Lamborghini but you've never changed the oil ever, it's still not going to perform.
Or
you
put in garbage gas.
Right. You're putting a bunch of garbage. It's going to clunk, clunk, clunk. You're going to have problems.
Right.
So in order to really get the full access and benefit from the immense amount of tools and from doing your inner work, and it will actually propel you and help you do your inner work, because if I'm still feeding a parasite in my gut with sugar, then it's not going to help me pull away that I'm not good enough and I don't feel good about myself. But if I start feeding myself greens, well, that parasite doesn't like greens. It doesn't make an environment for a parasite to sit there that vibrates at that 200 level. And that's the same energy as the I'm not good enough. So it's actually helping to wipe away the physical vibration that's creating in my being. It's helping me. So now as I cleanse my body, I'm starting to cleanse my mind. It's helping to support me having alkalizing my body, mind, spirit. So I'm coming into alkalinity on a full body, mind, spirit level, because it's a holistic process, not just one thing.
Yeah, and as you were talking about that, I was thinking about brain health, which is something we've talked about before, not from a medical expert space, but more from experience and some reading that I've done and experiences you've had. And that when we feed ourselves good food, nutritious food, our brain can function better. And when our brain functions, everything works better. If anyone's out there ever been either maybe they drank a lot of alcohol or over-sugared themselves or, ate pizza for a week straight, you just get foggy, like your brain doesn't really work well. And then it's hard. Everything gets harder. Everything about life gets harder. Decisions get harder. Getting up in the morning gets harder. Dealing with people gets harder. So as we clean our body out, and it's a process. It's not like you get there one day and then you're done. Maybe some people, but a lot of people, it's a process. It's letting go of things maybe that you. I was just talking to a woman the other day. This reminds me of a story. I had a woman come in the shop yesterday, and she was getting ready to go to naturopathic school to be a naturopath. She wants to be a doctor of naturopathy. And she's from the Midwest. And she said, she was in the shop for a while. We were talking about this and that. And she was saying that her family and friends, she just finds it so hard to be with them because she really she ponders everything she puts in her mouth, and they like to go out to eat to these kind of garbage restaurants. And she doesn't eat when she goes out with them because the food is so bad. And she's like, I won't even drink out of a plastic cup because I don't want the plastics in my body. And they just think I'm weird and they think I'm crazy. And I'm like, all I said to her was, look, I'm standing here. I don't know you from anywhere, but your aura and your energy and your being looks like such healthy, joyful that those people, they're on their own path. Just stay true to you, keep doing you. But that's part of the challenge, I think, for all of us is as we make these changes, and we've talked about this, sometimes the people that you've been hanging out with don't get it. They don't get that you don't want to drink alcohol anymore. What do you mean? We always go out on Friday night and drink.
Yeah.
Like, and now you don't want to do that anymore. Why don't you want to? And it's how do you deal with that? How do you work through that?
Yes, big things. Small, like you said, little at a time. So I think things fall away a little at a time the more you alkalize. So kind of it's a real big picture health, right? So if we make it kind of distill it down, just take sugar out.
Yeah.
If you start there, take sugar out entirely. Anything white, don't eat it. So, except for like jicama and, daikon. Okay, those are vegetables. But
no, any
basically
white processed
stuff. And sugar is the foundation of most of the problems for people. And is that we live in an acidic bodies. So the acidic nature is what creates what we've talked about in the past, vibratory frequency, a resonance. So in essence, we're looking at health as a vibrational experience. Health vibrationally, body, mind, spirit, being in alignment in a kind of neutral, more alkalized environment in all of those realms. So we talk about that spiritually, about staying in the center, staying in your love, leading with love, coming from the heart of God and being guided by infinite wisdom, infinite unity. We talk about that on a mental capacity as staying in your mental center, being in neutrality, not getting triggered or reactive, but instead seeking to understand. And then we talk about that in a body framework of being in a optimum pH. And that's, I think it's about 7.1. So it's just you want to be out of acidic in an alkaline state, but not over alkaline. I need to check that number, but anyway.
No, but people can look it up.
Look it up.
Yeah, look into that.
The optimum number there,
Yeah.
And but in essence, just to give you a framework, that's really all the same thing in three different areas. Now we expand that. We've talked about multidimensionality. We're really moving into this understanding as we move further along. Time is speeding up. Summer solstice is here. The sun flares. We're getting so much energy in the Schumann resonance that's vibrationally coming in. So what does that mean for us? It means that we're understanding that we are all having a multidimensional experience, which means you are having experiences on many different levels, much like what I just explained, mind, body, spirit, recognizing their unique aspects. We are beginning as a society and the availability to really understand and access these different lives, experiences, locations, really. Timelines are locations. They're places where we are or have been or are going to be, but in your own linear framework, but they're in essence all happening now. Everything is happening now, and so it's just a point in time, so to speak. So we're having more awareness of this, which allows you to bring more things back into that center point of unity from a small microcosm to the macrocosm. We're coming into this unified field of 0 point, neutrality, alkalinity.
I love that word neutrality. I've been thinking about that lately. And for those of you listening out there, as we talk about whatever we're talking about, if there's something that just resonates for you, write it down or make a mental note of it, because we go all over the place in this show, and we repeat a lot of things from last week or last month or last year. And it's because it's kind of all the same thing, but as I feel as humans, there's just so many things we can incorporate at one time. So lately the word neutrality is up for me. And I find that when I think about that word and I say, I want to be in that place, even if I don't even know exactly what it means, I'm setting an intention for myself so that when somebody out there says something or does something and it's like, wow, that is like wild stuff, some maybe crazy behavior or screaming or whatever it is. It's like, as I set that intention for neutrality, I'm not reacting to that. And it feels so much better than reacting to it. And if anything, like we were talking before, it's how can I hold space for that? That person's really having a tough time right now. How can I hold space for that? It's not about me. That's their movie. It's not my movie, but I'm here. I'm here for some reason, so let me hold space for it. And if there's something in there for me to learn, I'm open to that. But there's a spaciousness with neutrality, rather than like we were saying before, where somebody says something and you're like, oh, wait a minute, let me da-da-da-da, and you have to make your point, and I have to make my point, and you're talking over me, and I'm talking over you, and that just the energy of that is kind of exhausting. You know.
Totally.
Yeah. So as we're going through this, you and I talking, and people are out there listening, and if there's something you want to say out there, call us.
We would love
at
to hear from you.
808-884-5657.
Even if you like, what are you saying? We don't like it. No, you can call us then too.
You
Call
can
us
have
for
an
anything.
opinion.
We would love to hear from you. And if there's something you have a question, or you want us to discuss something, we're open to that too.
Right.
This is, we're talking about all these things as reflection for whoever's listening out there.
Right.
May it be a reflection to help you unpeel something of yourself and to remember something in you that gives you another morsel home, to give you another piece to connect to yourself and your highest expression and who you really are wanting to be in this moment now.
Yes. And I think however we can keep it simple, like you were saying, the acidic and the alkaline, that's just a really simple way of looking at health. So if I eat this ice cream, is that going to bring me to more alkaline? No. Okay, then I'm not going to have that. Like, if we can just think of that one thing as, rather than saying this is good for me and this is bad for me, it's like, is the apple that was grown last year and sprayed, is that going to help me towards alkaline? I don't think so. So I'm not going to have that.
Well, and here comes in kind of like, I feel like we're living in a different world than we were a decade ago. We are in a world where technology is really coming to the forefront, and they're doing all sorts of intense things now to use technology to quote unquote help society. However, I do not believe that is necessarily the way we should be going. I'm in alignment more with natural law, with us being in alignment with the earth rhythms, and really navigating natural remedies, health, etc., and trusting our own innate nature. So what I want to say to everyone out there who's listening is we need to be more aware, we all need to be. It's just what's happening. Some things that have come to my attention, there's a thing called A-Peel. You could check it out. I believe it's apeel.com. And it is a company that is creating an quote-unquote organic peel that it is actually grown from organic materials through DNA to grow another peel on, let's say, an apple, so that it will stay on the shelf longer and retain its freshness in the stores. It is said that Target is a company that utilizes this. So if you shop at Target, you may not want to eat the fruit. It may have this on it. And we don't know what that is necessarily.
Right.
There's a lot of compounds being put now into foods. The next new wave of things to be aware of is actually DNA manipulation. There's a lot of things that can be done to manipulating things within a molecular structure. And that's what's happening now. So we have to be more aware for ourselves. What do we want to be navigating or putting in our bodies? The truth is, all of the chemical compounds, FD7, number 9, all those things, corn syrup, read a back of anything you put in your body, citric acid, these things are horrific for us. They're killing us. So if you start reading the labels, you'll be shocked. You don't even know what that stuff is. Right. If I don't know what it is, if I can't pronounce it, I probably shouldn't eat it.
Right.
So we want to take that stuff out of our diet. Just as a society, we got to wake up. We have to take charge of our life and decide that we're going to be empowered, healthy beings. We come from the earth. We come from planting our food. Our beautiful community knows this and has course, been doing activating farming and activating community for a long time, and thanks and praise. And may we continue to move in that direction and be examples for that for others in our neck of the woods, and impart to anyone else. Home gardens, rooftop gardens. If you're in the city, urban gardens, we can plant food wherever. I've been watching this guy. Gosh, I can't remember his name, but there's this cool guy like on social media. He just does these awesome urban garden tricks that are amazing. I mean, you can garden anywhere. Like, here's how to grow a cucumber in your own house. Teaches you how to pollinate it. Just Q-tips and pollinate the cucumber, and you're in the city with cucumbers.
Yeah.
So point is, everything's accessible at this point. We have so much information available to us, and we just have to direct where is it we want to go. We're being bombarded by information, by energies. Everywhere you go, there's all these agreements, informations, contracts happening, which is why foundationally, back to those energy tools, if you're using your energy tools as a foundational practice, then you're creating your movie first there. You're supporting that movie by what you put in your body, giving your vessel the tools and the gas it needs to run that Christic light, that vision, and your mind clarity as you stay in neutrality. So earlier, Eila brought up going into places where maybe I might get activated or something might get, bring something up for us. And I had a client even ask the other day, so should I avoid this person because they really are hard for me right now? And I said, well, it depends. If you want to go in and you're ready to dig in and you're like, I'm going in, dun, 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 and you pray and you meditate and then you go have an experience, and you know that person's going to bring something up for you. You're looking for it. You're there to meet it. That's why you would have the experience. I know something's going to come up. I'm going to look for it. The second you're at lunch and let's say, oh boy, I just feel it in my thought. I'll be right back. I use the restroom. You go get it. Hey, inner child. What's happening? What am I feeling? Because you're using, the experience is going to bring up something for you. So you use it as, I'm going in, dun, dun. It's a getting it. If you feel that way, great. On the other hand, if you feel like I don't have my tools, I can't say I'm getting bombarded. Well, maybe you're not ready for that yet. Maybe
that's okay
to avoid the situation for a little while. Let's get some tools running. Get you feeling strong that you can navigate yourself. And then you're like, okay, I'm ready to have that martial arts battle, which is kind of what it is. You're going to have to hold your own.
Right.
Or else you're going to go down. So we
want
to be ready and knowing what you're dealing with. There's it's all what you feel. So it's not like, well, I should do it because I'm this. That's a big stuck place. We were talking about that one too earlier in our outside conversation, but you guys weren't there. But anyway, where we discuss really that assumptions, or I should do this, or they should be that. We do that a lot in the society, make a lot of these underlying assumptions. Well, they understand because they went to blah, blah. Well, she's a doctor. She must know such and such.
Yeah.
We don't know. I don't know. And there's nothing you got to do. What do you feel? Check in. Lead from the heart of God. Whatever I'm led to do, let that be what I breathe through. Am I coming from love? Is it founded in love? Does it feel good? Okay, that's it. It's in the highest good. That's our foundation. And then we take that and we put it into our daily practice out there in the world, right? What does that look like? Well, we want to be productive and help one another. So we want to be good stewards of what we've been given. We want to take care of our homes, our lands. We want to be fruitful, right? So if we plant good seeds and we tend our seeds and we care for what we've planted, then we will bear good fruit. And that is what we have the opportunity to do as we deepen into our simplicity.
You remind me of all kinds of things I'm writing down. You're just talking about planting, and it reminds me of Auntie Miley. Auntie Miley lived at our house for 3 years, and then she moved to another place. And in the time she was there, she planted and planted and planted flowers and plants and plants and flowers. Wasn't her land. This is what she does.
That's
and
right.
She's done this throughout her life. That we're not unique in that.
She's a steward.
And she just keeps planting, and then she moves somewhere else, and then she plants there, and she loves I just know, I can feel her. She loves that connection to the earth. The earth, she always talks about sitting on the earth because that's how she gets healed. So where she'll be sitting there, planting and weeding, and I'm talking about in a very relaxed way. This isn't someone who's on her knees and hurting her back to do it. She's sitting down and she's doing what she's doing, and she receives from the earth and she gives to the earth, and it's like breathing, And so as you're listening out there, and maybe you're like, well, I rent a place. How am I going to plant anything? Oh, you just get some pots, and maybe when you move, you leave the pots there, or it doesn't. There's this the unattached. That's a thing you love to say. You say unattached and amused. The unattached part about what we're doing, where we're doing these things because we know it feels good. It's a positive thing, and we're unattached to where it all goes.
Oh, so beautiful. And I just want to give a big hug and aloha to Auntie Miley.
Yes.
She joined us actually last Friday for our beautiful show, and she was so beautiful. She's like, I shouldn't really dance because I had some body work. But there she got up, and boy, she was getting down. Barefoot. And if you do not know Auntie Miley, she's about 87. She's celebrating her birthday.
83.
83?
Yeah, she's 20 years older than me.
83.
She's 83.
Okay, and she's amazing and beautiful, and a woman of the Aina who has been sharing the traditions, the culture. Many of us know her here in this town.
She grew up here in North Kohala, lived everywhere else on the islands, and wants to spend her later years here, and she is.
And an example of what we're talking about, that as you are sitting with the earth and being fed by her, that it is no hard work. It's a joy. Like, it's a joy to plant seeds. Like, I feel that same feeling. I didn't, before I had land, I planted seeds at where I live too. Like, I just like to, like, why not? We're there. I always feel like wherever I am, there you are. Nobody owns really anything, even if you so-and-so, quote unquote, own it. You don't own it. We're just all stewards. And wherever we are, we have the opportunity to take care. And if we take care of, it takes care of us. And that symbiotic relationship, which is a really simple reminder to anyone out there, if you're not having a daily relationship with the land already, simple reminder, go outside and just take your shoes off and stand in the earth for 10 minutes. Like, literally, just nowadays, there's all sorts of things about it, grounding, and then it's a real practice. But literally, just go outside and put your feet in the dirt. Yeah. Like, it's amazing just connecting to the mama and helping her. And now more than ever that brings us into another place of this body, mind, spirit, amazing availability we're all in now, is this balance of masculine, feminine energy. The Holy Mother energy, Pele, the goddess energy, is all finally here again. We have access to our mother, the earth. As we give to her and nurture her, you're really nurturing yourself. You're nurturing that sacred part of you, which is harmony, gentleness, care, tuning in. When you walk by a plant and you notice it's thirsty, and you're like, oh, hey, you need some water. That feeling of just tuning in, and then it deepens into more, and it deepens into conversations, and then co-creations. So allow yourself to be receptive to what might be available in these kind of communications with the earth and then with ourselves as we kind of awaken more in this realm.
Yeah, and I think that's it brings up the idea of as we're more in tune with the earth, we can also be more in tune with ourselves. We can also be more in tune with one another. Like if you walk past the plant and you notice it's thirsty and you say, oh, I'm going to give that a drink, that helps you be more aware of yourself and that, oh, you know what, I'm thirsty and I think I'll give me a drink. And then maybe you walk past the person and you're like, you look thirsty. Can I get you a drink? It's all connected. Yeah.
And when you were speaking about staying in neutrality earlier and like not reacting to someone, when you take that plant example and you realize when the plant's yelling at you, hey, I'm thirsty. Hey.
Yeah.
You're not taking it. You realize that's just, it's coming from, it's thirsty.
It's in need.
It's in need and it's thirsty. So when that person over there is having that experience and you're able to see that to reflect that, oh, it's not about me, it's about them. Mm-hmm. They come from, maybe they were hurt as a child. Maybe they didn't have someone to give them a hug and love them or listen to them. So maybe that's why they aren't able to listen right now. And maybe I can have some compassion for that and hold some space for that as I tune in. And the more aware, the more I take myself out of it, right? And I'm able to see what's around me and just tune into that, to see what's here. Like, it's not about me, right? It's all about you, and it's not about you at all.
Right.
Ha ha ha. That's the dichotomy. It's your movie, but at the same time, nothing's about you. Take nothing personal, because that's what the movie's doing.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. And if you want to call with any questions or comments, 808-884-5657. We'll be right back.
The Kohala Oral History Project is proud to present This is Kohala, a short film which captures stories of Kupuna reminiscing about plantation life and what makes Kohala special. The film will be shown at the July 5th Kohala Night Market at 5 p.m. Hawaii time. Join us at the Resilience Hub Barn. You can also catch the live stream from the Kohala Reunion 2025 Facebook page. Go to the events section for the link to join. For more information, contact us at kohalaoralhistoryproject@gmail.com. Mahalo.
There will be a celebration of life for recently deceased longtime Kohala resident Susie Fudge on Friday, June 30th at 5 o'clock. Her family invites you to join them at Keokea Park to share your stories of Susie and honor the extraordinary person she was. Please bring a potluck dish to share. That's Friday, June 30th, 5 o'clock at Keokea Park. Mahalo.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you.
Aloha Kohala. This is Eila Allgood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
Protecting me, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me, I am.
Well, welcome back. It's 3:34 here on June 21st, 2023. You're listening to Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and
Michál Anna.
we are so happy to be here. And I just want to observe that today feels like we both said we had a kind of relaxing. It wasn't like I was laying around all morning. I was busy, but it was a flow thing. It wasn't like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do. It was just like, I think this would be a good time to go water that plant over there. There was no pre-planning. And there was something so liberating about that. It sounds like you had that too. And I feel like that's translated into our show today. I feel
For
that.
sure. And I feel that too. And I was even listening to a past show recently and I thought, gosh, I sounded awfully frantic. Sorry. Yeah, I think I was, we've all been working on quite a bit, but I've definitely had a lot of client work, a lot of work on myself, a lot of things just like it's, get it. And I like to get it. So I get a little excited and I'm like nose to the grind in a positive way. However, I do feel like a really big shift, release kind of like has come forward with this solstice. If just kind of what you just said, the opportunity is really, if we allow it, is to just go into the flow.
Yeah.
Like, okay, give thanks. This is what's happening. Let's just ride the wave, give thanks. Time is changing. It's speeding up, truly. And so 3D is changing. For those that are hanging on to it, enjoy. And then those who aren't, well, yay. It becomes like way more this multidimensionality we're talking about is becoming so much more available. You get to have so many more layered experiences, and we're all getting to have them. What I'm experiencing has been a gradual expansion in my work, over the last 25 years, but the last 5 have been huge as the earth has been making shifts, as we have been moving into these greater times, as we see the Schumann resonance lifting, as we are having solar flares, as all this consciousness is lifting around the globe. It's kind of fun if you live in a small place and you don't get to see what's happening out there. It is kind of fun to jump on one of these social media things. Like TikTok is pretty cool, actually, to just get a scroll of like, wow, what are they doing out there?
Yeah.
What are the kids talking about kind of gig? And honestly, a lot of people are talking about awakening, and they're talking about knowing themselves, and they're talking about what's going on in the sky and what's going on with where we've been in the politics and financial structures and new systems, and how do we own our own sovereignty. The conversations are being had. It's exciting to see that being the buzz point at this point in reality here in 2023. We are at a time that is pivotal to be on the planet, and opportunity is grand. And it's really, are you ready to expand and rise into more love and release the pain and the wounding that has been transpired here over like the last literally 25 26,000 years? Or are you wanting to hold on to that and kind of redo it somewhere else, which you can do? It's totally cool. But the opportunity is that we get to release the shackles and get out, kind of like, so to speak, own our sovereignty, where we've been in this kind of enslaved place, mind, body, spirit, where you've been in acidity. And so now we're getting into alkalinity, into a balance where you own your own masculine, own your own feminine. You're both.
Right.
That's a revelation in and of itself. Right. We're all everything. We're all both. So even though I'm a woman, yes, I have access to masculine energy, and I have access to feminine, and I get to balance that in the upright position in my own self, which the upright qualities of that we've even lost a lot of contact to, because our roles, we don't have a lot of upright figures out there in our society giving us the real beautiful qualities of woman, the real beautiful qualities of the embodied man. So we're creating them now with ourselves, right? We're learning how to be, what does it really mean to be the embodied mother, feminine being, a mother of all things, planting seeds, right? That's what is it to be the feminine energy? We nurture, we birth, we give forth. That's like Auntie Miley, planting seeds, being the mother of giving to the earth, holding space, listening, compassion, holding an energy for someone while they have a moment, being kind, gentle, reaching in, tuning in. These grace, ease, these are all characteristics of our divine feminine, which we all have and we all want to embody. We have this divine masculine, directive, safe, firm, shows you where to go, protective, magnanimous, bright, it opens and reaches out. There's so many qualities we can deepen in as we kind of explore the real balanced and upright versions of where we're going here, and the opportunity we have to all reach into that and be more than we understood before.
Yeah, and I think that there was a period of time that's maybe shifting where women were kind of leaving the homemaker world, going to work and going into professions. However, a lot of that was done in the masculine image because that was how it was shown to be. And I feel like now things are shifting where women, I just watched this, Holly and I watched this program we binge watched last night. And one of the things I loved about it was a woman was the president of the United States, and a woman was the chief of staff, and they were bringing their feminine energy to the role versus just trying to do it like a man would do it. And I'm not saying this isn't good, bad about anybody. This is about honoring both sides. We've been honoring the masculine for a long, long, long time in humanity. So as we're honoring the feminine more and more, as men, as women, as whatever, it's a beautiful thing to see, because it's there's a lot more harmony.
You can also see in that story you tell the cycles of like archetypes. See, we're in a big story. So we're in archetypal stories. These are all archetypes we're in. We're just playing them out in all different fashions. In fact, the King Kamehameha story has very similar threads. Reflectively, conceptually, for those of you, I'm not comparing it, her story to King Kamehameha's story. I'm just saying concept-wise, King Kamehameha took war. At the time, bloodshed and war was in place, and he used that way to unite and bring the islands together into a time of peace, into a time of harmony. But the current model was warshed and blood, so it was actually what was used to bring in and usher in a time of peace. So just that concept. Now we cast that story aside. No more comparison there. And I take that concept into what you were just saying, and we say, hey, like we didn't know any other way. Like let's women in general, to the feminine nature that used like, well, the patriarch was in mode and it was what was in charge. So we use the patriarch to try to create, to come into unity. And now it's time to come into balance.
Yes.
Now it's time where feminine gets to come into a harmonic balance, and the masculine, because it was out of balance. See, it wasn't in balance then, because what was happening, to kind of like give you another picture, is if you look back, you can see it real clearly. We've kind of had the divine sacred feminine has been powering the tyrannical king. So you could see that in the typical story of the, rah guy who the woman works, cleans, has the kids, does all the things, and he's rah, rah, rah. That's how it plays out in our external reality. Let's say one example, but that's really an inside job inside of ourselves. Our sacred feminine has been inverted to our own tyrannical masculine. We have been in disbalance in ourselves because we've been fed all these programs and propagandas and lies of who we think we're supposed to be. So we've been trying to be the tyrannical king and the Baphomet, which is more like the slut or the inverted feminine, which we see like the twerk city and, boobs on the thing and, bar on the glad. I don't know, all this stuff. It's like promoting this more lower density and telling kids to twerk and show your thing, which is not what it's about. That's the inversion of your divine feminine, which you are a goddess. Those of you, if you're listening, you're a goddess, and you don't need to show all that to know that. In fact, the less is better. Less is more. Enjoy. We love ourselves. If you love yourself, great. Be confident. But it's not about something. If we're doing something for something, that's where
for certain recognition.
Right now, you're running into.
That's
something.
what all my sisters are doing. They're all twerking. So I need to do that.
Right.
To be part of that.
To be popular.
Part of the sisterhood.
Or
no.
whatever. No. If you
just
feel
do
like
you.
it's great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, do you? I'm not saying don't do it, but bottom line is we haven't had real clear models of how to really embody divine feminine, divine masculine. We are, as a whole, creating them as we get in touch with our Christ consciousness, as our Christic light, and we release pain and wounding. We clear ancestral wounding, ancestral healing, and we allow ourselves to truly embody who you are, the hologram of the infinite, which each of us is just a completely unique characteristic of the infinite God. We're all children of that infinite light. So it is it's crucial that I be all that I am, and Eila be all that she is, because I'm the only one that has this exact little combination, and she's the only one with that exact. We're all exactly unique and valuable, and so valuable and part of this one thing. And ultimately, for each of us to come into that co-creative awareness means we get to work in harmony as one thing and go like, oh yeah, okay. It's fun. It's fun to go flip back and forth to where it gets like we're just throwing a ball, energetic. I mean too. Where we're doing it together, and it's spiraling into this upward energy because we're all in a flow of embodying the magic, the openness, the love. And when there's all that present, it becomes magical, and that's what this new earth opportunity, it's so exciting. And we get to expand into places we haven't been and maybe ever, or it's all new, a whole new time, out of the loops and into the light.
I like that. Write that down, somebody. Out of the loops.
Out of the loops.
Out
and
of the
into
loops.
light. I'm going to just say that right now.
Yeah, write that down, dear.
Write that
yeah,
down.
so while you were talking, I was Yeah, we've all experienced so much programming, and I was thinking about. I think I've talked before about. I've looked at some pictures of myself when I was younger, as a teenager or whatever, and I remember feeling like I was doing what I was thought girls do because I wanted to be accepted, and I'm sure everybody out there has had done this, whether they're male or female, doesn't really matter. It's just doing what you think your friends want you to do, your parents want you to do, society. I remember putting on dresses. I hated wearing dresses when I was a kid. Maybe it was because I was made to wear the dresses rather than being able to choose. Like now I choose to wear a dress, it's fine. But as a kid, I didn't want to be made to do that. So it's looking at those things throughout our life, and now I feel so free that I can do and express myself how I want to express myself, and still peeling back layers. So those of you that might be listening out there, what layers are you peeling back, to be true to who you are, balancing that masculine and feminine, because it doesn't stop one day. I mean, I feel like I'm constantly unfolding, and new things are coming up, and like we talked about the agreements, cutting, just recognizing that maybe I've made some agreements and contracts that I'm not even conscious of, but I just want to sever those. Anything that's not in my greatest and highest good. So those of you out there, be more conscious of those things. And the courting to people we were just talking about, I've never cut cords to my kids because I thought, oh, they're my kids, even though they're, older than anything. They're not kids anymore. They're not 2-year-olds, 2-year-olds may be different, but I did that recently, even with my little grandson. It was like, yeah, let him be. He's got to do him. He doesn't need to feel courted to you, and you don't need that with him. Just cut them. Let them connect to God, and I connect to God.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's of importance that we just use our tools all the time. We're in this whole different field now and framework, and kind of this awesome opportunity to come into this union. And and looks like we've got a caller here, so we're gonna have them come on with us here for a moment.
Okay, hold on. Are you there, Blake? Hello? What? Hold on. Are you there? There you are. I pressed the wrong button. Sorry.
Aloha.
Welcome, Blake.
Hi, it's me.
Hi.
Aloha, Blake. Welcome. Happy solstice.
Yes, summer solstice, of course. One of the things I wanted to share with you between masculinity and feminine is this. When I was in art school, and I learned about M.C. Escher. Now, M.C. Escher, he was a great artist. Mm-hmm. He applied black and white images to a two-dimensional plane, which became fifth-dimensional, sixth-dimensional, and seventh-dimensional, where images were formed within each other. Mm. And as an art student, I was like, hey, how can I convey such, architecture to a two-dimensional plane using color, where forms are blending together? And I came up with this image that was mathematical and also very organic. Mm-hmm. And it came out to be this sort of, we call it now, like a flage with nature and earth and how we see things. Mm-hmm. But for me as a man, and the experience of going through that masculinity and feminine experience was, do I hide it or do I expose it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm exposing it in this little town, which I love so much. And it's becoming this, like, amoeba. And I'm just allowing people to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And the feedback I usually get is positive and happy and joyful.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, so beautiful, Blake.
That's
love
beautiful.
the joy.
Yeah. And
know,
thanks for
I
the
know.
background on the art. You gave us a
Yes,
little
yes,
education
because-
there. That was very helpful.
Yes.
I really think that art and the expression of the experience of nature and all the things we are bombarded with as a human being, it's nice to have a vehicle for expression.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree with you, Blake, and I love that you brought up MC Escher. I actually was very touched by his work as a student in college. I'm not an art student, but I was really into him at that time. And now, as you were
Really?
talking, and as you were talking, I was realizing, I wonder if that was part of that. I mean, that definitely was part of my awakening. I would look at his work and the stairs and those angles and the doors, then the narcissism, the egg and the river. I mean, that whole, he has so much of that's, I guess, into Salvador Dali. Sorry, I brought a Salvador Dali in there. Him too. MC Escher, Salvador Dali. Both of them had some really amazing work that really I pondered deeply. And I bet it did help to really open my mind and brain to think in a more dimensional framework. So just sitting with art like that, you bring that up, Blake, as a tool. And I want to just make that clear for folks that what he's sharing is it's a tool to help you actually infuse more of that multidimensional conceptual thinking into your brain and into your framework. Interestingly, what they're kind of doing, honestly, they're doing it in the movies now with our technology is, right? So Dr. Strangelove would be the best example of MC Escher in current film with the kind of, things they're doing, everything moving and flowing. MC,
that is true.
That's like MC Escher made live, really. And so that kind of like...
I mean, he changed the framework of wallpaper.
Yeah. He really did. It's pivotal work and it's math and it's we could really talk about this topic quite a bit actually, but it's just a plant for the audience that there's math involved there. There's connection to the nature spirals and what he's trying to connect there. Blake is seeing the math and the spirals of nature that move in that he then is translating through the expression of color because color has a vibratory frequency through the chakra system that we're activating parts of ourselves as we lay our eyes on certain colors. We are integrating and activating certain things. And for those of you who don't know Blake or don't live in our little town, he puts amazing, colorful artwork through our town to activate and enliven your heart and your joyful expression within yourself. Thank you for being an expression of joyful creation, Blake.
It's a gift,
we appreciate
and I love
you.
that I can express it here. Really.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing your balance of that creative energy and your vulnerability to express your gentility, your peace, your openness, your love, your connection as a man, and to embody that and share it with others is a real gift. And all of the things we just said are great tools. So grab onto any of those, write them down, and use them as means to help activate yourself. The more things we can do to enliven our vibratory frequency to rise up, the more things you put around yourself to bring you up to where you want to be, the easier it is. Turn the TV off. It's not going to take you anywhere good unless you're watching something specific. And when you do watch stuff, just be mindful. Nothing in and of itself is evil, right? It's how we use things. And that's why we talk about tools. If I know I'm going to watch this, well, I'm just going to put a shield on, be in my energy. I'm not taking on any energy from that thing. I'm going to study it. And I'm going to be mindful of what it might be feeding me. Some of it's programming. I don't need to take that stuff in, but I'd like to watch the story. So I'm
Maybe
gonna
I
be
can learn
aware of
something
it,
here.
Right.
Yeah.
It might have a reflection, like I just told you, Dr. Strangelove has this cool conceptual MC Escher thing going on. So it's actually activating your brain, and the concepts in it are activating your brain. So that kind of gets real fun. Blake, I think we're going to let you go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Blake.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Blessings to
Thanks
you.
for calling. Aloha.
Blessings, goddesses.
Aloha. So yeah, that's super fun. Mathematics, everything is math. Our universe is a mathematical expression. And color, I mean, yesterday what I was going to share before Blake called was, just as we're wrapping up here towards the end of our show, is yesterday what we did in our meditation, and I may be uploading this, so you might be able to find it on my channel if you'd like, but you could do this on your own too, just today, is think about something that you've been working on. Like, let's say, I'm going to use a couple examples. Let's say rejection or betrayal. Maybe that's been my long loop, or failure. I feel like I've always failed, or it's just not quite enough. And it's happened, let's say, through everything. If you look, you see your loops go through like all of your scenarios. Doesn't matter what story you're in, what people, it just keeps coming up. So you're looking at what that is. Where is that still playing out? And then we took that energy and we go with the positive affirmation. If rejection, then acceptance is really what I'm now embodying. And I'm going to, and then we took that, melded into divine feminine, masculine, and Christic light. So this emerald, like the colors Blake was talking about, emerald green, aquamarine, Christic gold. Take those three colors, Holy Father, Holy Mother, Christic child, cosmic seed, of balance, the Trinity. And when you take this now, rejection through my first chakra, let's say, and is there any threads here of rejection? Let's let them go and put in acceptance with this energy of emerald green, aquamarine, and Christic gold into that first center. And you do that through your whole system, integrating and releasing what is no longer serving. If you want some guidance in any of these things, or if you're not familiar with these kind of tools, maybe you already have a huge cachet. If you do, please use them. And if you don't and you'd like to learn, you can visit my channel, Michal space ANNA. There's meditations. The Daily Jam is a nice one to start with, just to kind of help put in these tools so you navigate them in your own energy with ease and grace.
Thank you. And if you want to hear any of our old shows, we're podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google. You just type in KNKR and then Intuitive Talk Story, and you will find them. And as well as your channel. Michelle's channel. Yes, and Michal has her YouTube channel, which is really, really informative. She's got lots of goodies on there, and she puts all of the shows on there as YouTube. So
you can find it lots of places.
Yes,
so you can hear us and enjoy with us. And if you have something you'd like us to talk about that you would love us to expand on, or if you're like, please reach out. You can email us at...
well, why don't you say... people can stop in my store in town, raise your vibration, and they can...
Okay, great.
They can stop by. Just say anything and say, Eila, we want to hear more of this or less of that, or whatever's up for you.
Maybe she'll put a little basket, and you could write little things and
put it in.
That's
a great idea.
Like a little box, like things to talk about on the story. You could just drop it in anonymously.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even have to say anything.
That's
she's going to set it up. If you are far away and you can't just stop by the store, then you can also email us. So you can email me at michalanalove@gmail.com. MICHALANNA love@gmail.com, or Eila Allgood.
I am Allgood, EALGOOD @gmail.com. And yes, we'll be back in 2 weeks. It is 3:59, so I think we're going to finish up.
So a blessed solstice to you all, and really just the beginning of this beautiful high point of summer. The longest days of light are here, more light. So happy watering out there, and may we continue to rise and expand into more of ourselves. Thank you for joining us, reflecting with us, learning and growing with us. And we are one. Mahalo nui loa. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.
Aloha. Thank you, Michal.